He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome to Coast View, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such a great place to live, work, and play. You know, I am so honored to be doing this show. This is really a gift to me to have the opportunity to sit down with leaders in coastal Mississippi who are making a difference every day. The conversations are incredible. You know, we're focused at times on some of the coast characters like Bobby Mahoney and others. It's just what a gift this is. And I hope that you see it the same way. I feel like if I'm getting something from it, hopefully you'll get something from it as well. And people ask me all the time, you know, I was retired for 4 years before I started this show. People ask me all the time, do I regret it? And I say, my gosh, no. I mean, I was already getting up in the mornings, kind of doing my newsy thing because I came from the news business. I've been publisher at the Sun Herald and Mobile and over in New Orleans, and then president of this large media company in the Southeast. So I had already had my thing that I did every morning about reading and whatever, but now I just come in here and do this show and I get to talk to someone who's really making a difference. I hope you're enjoying it. And one of the things that's really cool about it is I get to do this show from this studio that's at my house, and I'm not involved in the business side of the organization at all. I've been given complete freedom to have a great show that focuses on coastal Mississippi. And Steve, who owns this company, has done such a great, Steve Davenport has done such a great job of giving me the freedom. And then this Kim Dillon, the president of the company, gives me so much freedom as well. So I love it. And I want to ask you, if you were going to think of the perfect sponsor for Coast View, who would that be for the studio? Say, if you were going to rename this studio after some entity, what would it be? Well, my answer would be Coastal Mississippi. And I'm pleased to announce, you've probably already heard it in the commercials, that I'm actually doing this show now, Coast View, from the Coastal Mississippi studio. And I'm so thrilled about that. I believe in what this regional tourism organization is doing. I really am a big fan of Milton Segura. You've heard me talk about him many times. I've had many of his board members on this show as well. I think he is the right guy for this job during the pandemic, and frankly, before the pandemic and after the pandemic. He's very strategically focused, and you've heard it from the mayors. You've heard it from various stakeholders in this community. They're just he's the right man for the job at this time. And Coastal Mississippi, I'm so proud that they're now associated with Coast View. I'm operating from the Coastal Mississippi studio. Hey, I have a very special guest today. I had a conversation with Richard Chenoweth. You know him from Scranton's. He's an entrepreneur. He's a big believer in coastal Mississippi. He's involved in tourism. I was having a conversation with him offline after we had our Coast View session together, and he mentioned a name to me, Butch Spiriton, and it didn't ring a bell. And I really feel bad about it now. Now that I've done my research on Butch, I feel bad about it. I mean, I was president and publisher of the Sun Herald for those years, and then I was over in Mobile. And Butch Spiriton grew up in Pascagoula. And just so you know, he went on to be the president and CEO of the Nashville Convention and Visitors Corporation. He's been there for nearly 30 years. Frankly, there was a headline that I think captured it the best, a headline from the Tennessean in 2018 that said, "Nashville's Rainmaker, How Butch Spiriton Made Music City a Top Destination." Butch Spiriton is sort of the visionary behind bringing Nashville from where it was back in the 1990s to what it is today. It's just a fascinating story. And so anyway, I reached out to Butch, and now I'm pleased to say that he's going to be my guest today on Coast View. Butch, good morning, buddy. How are you doing?
Morning. Doing great. Always great to talk to somebody on the Gulf Coast. I think about that part of the country literally every day, and love it down there, and glad to see things are improving for everybody down on the coast.
What I tell you what, Butch, is so interesting. It's a small world. All dots connect. So Richard introduces me to you, and then I learned that you are the singular guy who introduced coastal Mississippi to Milton Segura. It's a small world.
It is a small world, and I was their search firm. I didn't get paid. I said, I'd love to help you. And I kicked the tires around the country, and absolutely, I actually sat down with Milton in Las Vegas and interviewed him myself, and then said, "Okay, let's go forward with this." And I'm particularly proud that it's worked out. And I don't want to say I was right, but Milton was right. It's been a good find for the coast, and I'm happy for him and happy for y'all.
Well, one of the things that, and we're going to talk about this in the third segment, but the pandemic changes so much. But before, I mean, this is like early March, Milton and I were talking. We were just beginning to sort of lock down. And he said that the key to our success going forward will be the fact that, first of all, 80% of the people who came here came in cars. So we've got to create the fact that coastal Mississippi is a safe place to visit, and he focused all of his energy around that. You know, aligning the community, all his communication had to do with that, and he was so right about it. But we'll talk more about that in the last segment, because I know you've got good thoughts about it. You've been in the throes of understanding how a major metro, one of the leading tourism destinations in the United States, deals with the reality of the pandemic. I know it's been tough. But again, we'll come back to that in just a second.
Okay.
But you have been credited with so much. One of the I saw in that particular story, in an interview actually that I saw with you, you talked about how this used to be a destination that was very Opryland focused, that it went from, you would come here to go to a convention, or you'd go to the theme park, and then you would go home. And now you talk about it arriving at a place that is creative and authentic and international, that you really are very focused on the simplicity of the brand, but understanding the brand and making sure it's communicated in a certain way. And the other thing that you've communicated so many times is that you're only as good as your last performance. You can lose the focus on that brand identity immediately, and you have to constantly be focused on it. It's really, when you think back, it's amazing what you've accomplished since 1991.
I try not to look back too much, because I might scare myself on how far we've come. As you were alluding to, and thank you for the kind words, I'm a big believer in don't believe your own press. So I rarely read anything about myself. I always worry about tonight and tomorrow night and next year. And yesterday's gone, and it's helped me a lot. You share the credit and accept the responsibility for what doesn't work. And being willing to take risks. I often say we had a nickname and we had some assets in Music City and music, but we didn't have a brand, and we didn't have a focus, and we didn't have a dream. Maybe I'm a bit of a dreamer. I like to think I'm more of a activist than just dreaming. I like to make things happen. And I've had the good fortune to take some risks that paid off. And now the people I answer to and people that support us have given me a lot more rope to go, keep it going.
Let's do that. That kind of wets people's whistle. There's some amazing twists and turns of this story, that it's about arriving at like really audacious goals, and then another audacious goal, then another audacious goal. It's amazing. I mean, it can be measured statistically, and how the rooms are performing. It can be measured in international air flights. It can be measured in conventions. It can be measured in so many different ways. We're going to come back to that in a second. But one of the things I wanted to hear you talk about is how being raised in coastal Mississippi, how being a son of Pascagoula, helped make you the man you are today.
Well, it's interesting. Pascagoula is a blue collar town. My dad worked at the shipyard. He had a white collar job, but in a very blue collar facility. And you go to Pascagoula High. I went to Vanderbilt. I'm not sure how I got in, and I certainly had my eyes open to what people were doing in other places. But I started teaching swim lessons. I started lifeguarding, I think 14 or 15 years old. I worked every summer. I worked at Chevron. I worked at building the power plant up in Loosedale. And I sweated and I got dirty and I surveyed in the woods. I worked for a bricklayer, and I kind of knew what hard work would do. And I also knew that, there was a path up, but you should never forget your roots. And hard work pays off. That's maybe what I learned from growing up there. But I also, I'm a water rat. I love the coast. I love Horn Island, and I learned to drink in Biloxi. So those are important things.
Yeah, it sounds like a Jimmy Buffett song. We're going to write a song about that.
It should help me.
So why don't we do this? We're going to come back, talk a little bit more about your love for coastal Mississippi, and then we're going to shift gears. And in the very short period of time we have, I want to talk about the journey from what you saw in 1991 and these incredible milestones along the way that helped you become what you are today in terms of the city of Nashville.
Broadcasting safe and sound from the coastal Mississippi studios, this is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk 103.1.
Get out of the house and over to Big Play today. 2 massive arcades, bowling, go-karts, 2 mini golf courses, a 2-story state-of-the-art laser tag arena, bumper cars, and right now get a $50 game card for only $25. Visit our station's Facebook and print on demand so you can play at Big Play Entertainment Center now. These deals won't last long, so make sure you get your half-off deal. Big Play Entertainment Center, Highway 90 Biloxi. Bowl, play, eat. Go to our station's Facebook to get your half-off deal now.
What decisions are being made by state lawmakers, and how will they affect you, your family, and community? If you listen, you'll know. SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk app, and at supertalk.fl.
Hi, I'm Billy Kinder, host of Big Billy Kinder Outdoors here. The show Saturdays at 1, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Turkeys, whitetail, Grenada Lake crappie, or Gulfport redfish. We enjoy it all, especially when you're in camp with us on SuperTalk Mississippi.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it, so do your part and stay home. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit social gatherings. If you need essential items like food and medicine, try using a delivery service. If you must leave your house for essential items, or if you want to take a walk for exercise, make sure to wear a cloth face covering. Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. Try not to frequently touch surfaces like light signals, street signs, or benches. And wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so stay home unless absolutely necessary. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Brian Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else.
Hey, want to come work for the #1 radio group on the coast? TeleSouth Media has a great opportunity for an outside sales consultant. Get paid while having fun and work in the exciting, fast-paced world of radio. We have award-winning stations like 97.9 CPR Rocks, 105.9 The Monkey, G96.7, SuperTalk 103.1, and 103.5 The Possum. Take the first step towards a new and rewarding career. Submit your resume to Jesse at telesouth.com. That's JESSE at telesouth.com. TeleSouth Media is an equal employment opportunity employer.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
We have Butch Spearden with us today. He's the president and CEO of the National Tourism Effort, essentially. And he's someone that we should be very proud of. He grew up in Pascagoula. He's a coastal Mississippian. He loves this place. But like others we've talked to, he went on to do amazing things in his life. And the experience that he has gained during that time is a true inspiration to us. And he stayed in touch, as you heard from our conversation in the beginning. He's longtime friends with Richard Chenoweth, and helped us find Milton Segura, the current executive director of the Coastal Mississippi effort. And he's just a really good guy. So before we shift gears away from Coastal Mississippi, Butch, let's talk a little bit about, when you think about this place, your home, what do you think about?
Really friendly people, fresh seafood. I always think of Horn Island, just the islands off the coast. And just, you probably said it in the previous segment. It's where that Jimmy Buffett lifestyle was born, only it hasn't been commercialized. So it's the better part of that dream that Mr. Buffett launched decades and decades ago.
Yeah, I can still hear "Down Around Biloxi." I mean, wow, what a great song. But look, we're
and I apologize, but that song also, that line, I remember the smell of the creosote plant. I grew up with that smell. I know exactly what that song is saying.
I know. Well, for people who don't know the draw of something like Horn Island, for example, I'm a big boater too. So I spend a lot of time offshore, do a lot of fishing, and we spend a lot of time at Horn Island. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth. It really, I mean, when I say that,
I agree.
When I say that, people who haven't been there, there's no way that it can be that. But what I would encourage people to do, if you haven't been there before, go to the Walter Anderson Museum in Ocean Springs and see the influence that island had on Walter Anderson and how it sort of exhibits itself through his art. And you'll find yourself wanting to go there and see it for yourself. It's just an amazing place. Okay, so I think the Tennessean said it best when it said, when you got there in 1991, there was no Nissan Stadium, there was no Bridgestone Arena, there was no Music City Center, which really limited the ability for the city to attract events and conventions. You said we didn't have anything to sell. And so how did you do it?
It's a kind of a wild story. On one hand, Opryland deserves a ton of credit. They created the hospitality industry. They really supported the music brand, and they launched the convention side. But everything was 20 minutes from downtown. And when they were building all of that, they really built it without talking about Nashville. They wanted you to come there, spend your money, and go home. So they deserve credit, but it was very territorial. And I stepped on a lot of toes and a few landmines when I got here, because I thought I was hired to sell Nashville. And kind of what I quickly found out was I was supposed to just be subordinate to Opryland, the hotel, the Opry, and the theme park. I'm not very good at being subordinate. So I have the scars to show that, but I kept pushing the why not Nashville? Why don't we aspire to bigger things? And we were making some headway. And then in 98, and there were a number of things. I think maybe my first credibility break came when I put together the first meeting between the Houston Oilers and Nashville officials. And then all of a sudden that became a reality. And at the same time, we approved building Bridgestone Arena. So those things had people start to go, maybe we can be a little bit more. And then the theme park closed. When the theme park closed, I would describe it as, that's when I grabbed the keys to the car. And I said, we got this. And everybody was scared to death. The people in the industry thought we were dead. I certainly had my concerns, but we had the chance to go from being a summer destination and meetings out there to being a year-round destination. And that launched our credibility, maybe my credibility, and we started reinventing ourselves in 1998. And then in '03, I actually had a mayor who fought me every step of the way. He did a performance audit to prove that I was maybe a charlatan, that I was just hiding and wasting money. So he did a performance audit. The audit said we were really good at what we did. We shouldn't be part of the chamber, and there were greater opportunities. So as a result of him, we split from the chamber. We spent a year and a half going, who do we want to be? What's it going to take to get there? And how are we going to pay for it? Or what do we need to develop? Out of that came big events, needed to be a strategy. The brand was going to be critical. As I said earlier, we had a nickname, but we didn't have a brand. So built the brand, and we needed a reason for people to come year round. That became the Music City Center. And we implemented every bit of that plan, and the rest is history. It's a short version of 15 years.
What is so dynamic about it, though, so for people who aren't aware of some of the sort of the business lingo that we're using, brand means the emotional connection. It's a marketing term that means the emotional connection that someone has with a product. What's their emotional connection with the product? In order to achieve success with a brand, whatever you decide it should be, is you have to have a strategy. You have to have a strategy that really nails down in very significant detail the attributes of the brand, so you can be sure you're delivering on the brand. It's not just marketing. Marketing is really on the end of a strategic focus and what it's going to take to be able to do that. So when you say the brand and defining the brand, what was really driving that was an unbelievable detailed strategic focus that had everything from conventions to hotels to what the amenities were going to be, to what the big event centers might look like, and professional sports teams. And I mean, it went way beyond the meeting with the Houston Oilers. I mean, this is a very detailed process.
It was incredibly deep. We used a textbook by a gentleman named Dwayne Knapp. And I know, and actually he emailed me this week and said, can we catch up? So we used his book. I didn't hire him. So I know he was maybe offended or hurt. But I called him and I asked him if he would come speak after we had launched. And to your point, he said, have you done any research on your brand? Because I was all, puffed up and proud. Look what we've done. We've done this and this. And he said, have you done any research? And these words from 2004 to today, stay with me. You don't have a brand until your customer says you have a brand. So after you've done some research, call me back and then we'll talk about him coming. And I was offering to pay him at that time. But it resonated. A brand, everybody thinks, do a new logo, you do a new slogan. Look, we're rebranding. Far from the truth. And we went all the way down to the bottom and rebuilt it. So we had a nickname, Music City USA, and down to the nuances of we dropped the USA. 2 reasons. It had too strong of a country music connotation, and we wanted to bring in the other genres, and we wanted to be the only music city in the world. We didn't want to just be Music City USA. So subtle things like that. And when we rolled out the idea for the new convention center, when we made it public, we had already named it. We didn't want to leave it up to the politicians to name it after somebody, and we certainly didn't want the old and the new. It was the Music City Center, and it forced the architects to design it to live up to its name. So an extremely deep dive, extremely detailed focus on every little thing, including my last. We went to the state and we said, when you drive in, you have the highway signs every city has, every county, whatever, Davidson County, Nashville, city limit signs. So we want to put Music City on those. And I thought for sure I'd get blown out of the water. And I even said, we'll pay for it. And to my surprise, they loved it and they paid for it. So every sign entering Nashville on interstate or other signs, you see Music City. So you're reminded instantly you are somewhere different, and it's paid off for us.
But what we know is that when you got there, you did not have alignment around the goal. The goal was defined in a very narrow way, and what you saw is you needed to somehow expand that. And then as you expand it, it's amazing what a strategy and what success will do to align people. And what happened over time, as you read about this transformation, is that more and more of your stakeholders began to get on board and say, as more success happened, more stakeholders got on board, more private investment started to come into the city. It's an amazing story. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation with Butch Spiriton, who is the rainmaker for Nashville tourism. We'll be back after this break.
Be sure to go by this station's website and check out the half-off deals. Audubon Zoo tickets for just $15. That's half price. $30 zoo tickets for just $15. Again, go to this station's website or Facebook. Look for the half-off deals logo to purchase yours now.
Heart attacks and strokes don't stay home. So don't avoid the ER out of anxiety. Don't die of doubt. If you have an emergency, call 911. When seconds count, the hospital is the safest place to be.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter. Has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because, I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard, and, all this stuff was going on at the same time, / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
There's a place to share gossip about the office party fun, and a place to share the story you tell everyone. There's a place to share a laugh about when things went wrong, and a place to share the video of you dancing to your song. There's a place to share spare change, lunch, and your time. But we could all be better at sharing how we're feeling inside. 76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi, and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
This is House Call for Health. There may be no greater medical mystery and no greater tragedy than sudden infant death syndrome. It used to be known as crib death. For no apparent reason, a presumably healthy sleeping baby dies. Medical experts don't have clear-cut answers to what causes sudden infant death, or SIDS, but now they have 2 risk factors: smoking and drinking during pregnancy beyond the first 3 months. A new study finds that babies whose mothers drank alcohol and smoked tobacco after the first trimester are at far greater risk of SIDS, 12 times greater. Previous studies showed a risk of smoking and drinking individually. This study says doing both drastically increases the danger. The research is sponsored by the National Institutes of Health, which is calling for greater publicity about the danger and improved screening at the very beginning of a pregnancy. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it, so do your part and stay home. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit social gatherings. If you need essential items like food and medicine, try using a delivery service. If you must leave your house for essential items, or if you want to take a walk for exercise, make sure to wear a cloth face covering. Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. Try not to touch frequently touched surfaces like light signals, street signs, or benches. And wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so stay home unless absolutely necessary. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Whether you're a Rebel, a Bulldog, a Golden Eagle, or just a sports fan, SuperTalk Mississippi has got a podcast for you. For you. Sports Talk Mississippi, the Rebel Report, Thunder and Lightning, the SuperTalk Eagle Hour, and the Borky Show are all now available for you. And it's all free. Get them all on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for SuperTalk on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. What decisions are being made by state lawmakers, and how will they affect you, your family, and community? If you listen, you'll know. SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk app, and at supertalk.fm.
Hi, I'm Billy Kinder, host of Big Billy Kinder Outdoors here, the show Saturdays at 1, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Turkeys, whitetail, Grenada Lake crappie, or Gulfport redfish. We enjoy it all, especially when you're in camp with us on SuperTalk Mississippi.
He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. I'm so honored today to have Butch Spiriton with us. He's a South Mississippian who's going off to Nashville. He's been the president and CEO of the Nashville Tourism and Convention effort there for almost 30 years. And man, he has so much to teach, and there's no way we can do it in this short show. But I'm hoping that we're hitting some of the high points so that you can see, and this applies to coastal Mississippi, that you can see the kind of leadership you need to achieve big goals. And coastal Mississippi has enormous potential, and we are so lucky to have good leadership here. But where we were when we went to the break, we were talking about success and strategy has a way of aligning people, but still stakeholder communication, and you got political leaders, you've got private sector leaders, you've got private investment. It's very complicated, the world that you live in, isn't it?
Beyond complicated. I know I have so many bosses and constituents to answer to. I think some people think I don't have to answer to anybody, but you have a city council, you have mayor, we have 1,200 business members, a 23-member board, I have a 7-member tourism commission, I have a couple hundred hotels. So I look at it like everybody's my boss and everybody's watching. By the same token, I also look at, tell us what you want, and then let us go do it. If we're not doing it, then call us into question, make us accountable for that. But while we're going down the path of executing approved strategies and trying to accomplish goals, let us go do it. And, there's always a few people that shoot at you. I wake up every day, where's the next bullet going to come from? And hopefully I'm anticipating them. We're not perfect. We're not going to get everything right. But at the end of the day, if we're meeting our goals and we're advancing the community, then we ask for more support. And typically we get it. And that's true on the Mississippi coast. Everybody needs to come together. There's one destination.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And we're making such great progress in that area. But, I had the opportunity to attend a leadership program that lasted a year at Northwestern University. It was a collaboration between their graduate business school and Medill University, and just a terrific program. Had people from 9 countries. It was really a great program. But at the end, they had a guy named Robert J. Danzig, who was the former CEO for the Hearst Corporation, come in and talk to us. And the whole basis of his speech was that there's a powerful lubrication to change that comes from pain, that pain should it's the pain and so if you don't feel the pain, whether you're in business or in your life or in something like tourism, you're not looking hard enough because there's always opportunities to improve. But the pandemic has increased the pain, I would say, at a level that you never in your wildest imagination thought could occur. And I bet that's injected so much confusion, stakeholder communications. When you talk about you don't know where the next bullet's going to come from, I mean, the pandemic has sent enough bullets in your direction to kill you. So, but the pandemic has created challenges, and they're not only challenges that are short term, but they're longer term. Even if we get a vaccine, there are systemic changes that are going to happen. Take the rest of the time of this segment. Tell me what your thoughts are about how pandemic has challenged us.
Well, let's start with we don't know where the end is. So it is, obviously it's something none of us have really ever faced. But the biggest difference in this crisis, and so for me, theme park closing, 9/11, Great Recession, 1,000-year flood, tornadoes. I had felt like I was pretty well geared for obstacles and recovery. But once again, wrong. This thing hit us square between the eyes. Top performing market in the country. And when this hit, and now Nashville, according to Harvard, is the worst performing metro market in the country for consumer spending. So, you start with circle the wagons, contract, bring everything in. And we did, and maybe this is a great example, lesson learned from our past. We always pushed harder. Recession, flood, we didn't slow down. And I made a decision. We reduced contracts, we cut our pay, we did everything everybody was doing, but we didn't lay off people. We just pushed the envelope, hoping recovery would come sooner. So I would tell you, and also knowing we had limited funds. In June, I questioned myself dramatically. And did I make a mistake? Most of my peers furloughed 20, 30, 50 of their staff and just hunkered down, saved their cash, wait on recovery. I had my doubts in June. Then kind of came August, I felt a lot better about the decision we made. We hired people. We pivoted towards how we talk differently to our customers. And I think it's going to pay off. It's going to make our recovery a little quicker. We're fortunate in a geographic area that we have a good, strong drive market we can turn to. But it's budget, it's politics, it's panic. And we have the responsibility to convey confidence, and we have the responsibility to allay fears at the same time that we have to acknowledge, this is real. The pain is real, the downturn is real, and the recovery is unknown. So what we've tried to do is talk about the good things that are going on, positive accomplishments, the incremental growth, while we're also preparing people for a longer run and even deep diving. So I injected us in our organization with the mayor and with the health department. And it was more or less, without saying it, you're not going to make these decisions without us being at the table, whether I'm invited or not. And we have a mayor that campaigned against our industry a year ago. So I had to win him back over. A positive outcome is he sees the value of this industry today, and a year ago, he did not. So we've made some inroads there, but we're very transparent, we're very honest, and we're very diligent about our work ethic and our productivity. Our numbers now are better than we expected, but I would fire somebody if they produced the numbers we're producing today a year ago. So it's all context and it's all transparency, along with the confidence you have to convey.
Well, you start the process, and we're getting close to the end of the segment, and we'll kind of pick it up on the other side, but you start the process with a clear understanding about the brand. And, it's interesting because there's a great correlation back to what you saw in 1991, where Nashville has this authenticity about it that you started with in 1991, that you built all these foundational bricks on top of. We haven't talked about bringing in, professional soccer and hockey, and then, hockey reaching the pinnacle. There's so much that you've been able to accomplish, but it was all on the base of this very authentic. I mean, I can't overstate that, can I?
No, you cannot. I can't.
And then you come out of you're in the pandemic now, but that hasn't changed. It's still at the core of what makes Nashville's heart beat is an authentic aspect to it that is contagious and that people from around the world want to touch. And that's not going anywhere. It might be put on hiatus for a short period of time, but it's still there, isn't it?
Absolutely. We cannot lose it, because as you grow, you get some things that are a little shinier, and it becomes harder to protect, but more important to protect. And I would tell you, as a result of, we tend to use 3 key words around music: authentic, unpretentious, and friendly. And so as conventions canceled, we sent them gift boxes of Nashville, authentic Nashville products we're sorry you had to cancel. So we lost $5 million in spending from a group, and they got a gift from us. On one hand, you could say, who the hell does that? On the other hand, you could also go, can we afford to do that? The answer was more, we can't afford not to do it.
Yeah.
So we did those little things, how we touch our clients. We do it with music. We did a cooking demonstration with a celebrity chef, and we shipped them her ingredients. And when she was done, they were like, we love her. She was friendly, authentic, unpretentious. But it's critical right now that we kind of wrap our arms around each other, whether it's our hospitality community here or our clients around the world. We're in this together.
It's really interesting to hear you talk about that, because really the key to customer service is everything you just said, and you've got a lot of customers. You talked about stakeholders in the music industry, the stakeholders in the convention industry. Wow, there's so much here. And those little moments of a gift like that, people never forget that. I mean, it's a small world and time flies rapidly, and Nashville will reemerge and people will not forget that. When we come back on the other side, we'll finish up our conversation with Butch Spearden, the president and CEO of the Nashville Convention and Tourism Effort.
Coast View on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all of the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
SuperTalk. Nobody keeps Mississippi informed like we do. With 12 stations covering all 82 counties. If it happens in your state, we're on top of it. The news, the weather, the sports, and the talk that's important to you. The issues that matter to you, your family, and your bank account. It's all right here. And when you're away from home, depend on the SuperTalk app and supertalk.fm to stay in the know. We're proud to serve our fellow Mississippians. SuperTalk, Mississippi.
We know that we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible to this virus.
A question I often get asked is, why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
Social distancing is really physical separation of people.
It's what we refer to when we ask people to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, not going to theaters where there are a lot of people. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others who might actually be infected or infect you.
We all have a role to play in preventing person-to-person spread of this disease, which can be deadly for vulnerable groups. For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're here with the fabulous Norbert Putnam as he played on so many hit records, you can't count them, and produced for some of the biggest acts ever. Norbert, Elvis.
And I want to tell you about Presley. He had two different voices. He would sit and talk to me in a very calm, low voice. And we were at Stack's one night, and we were having lunch. We always had lunch at midnight because he was nocturnal. We sat there and we have our sandwiches, and at 1 o'clock, he looked up. He said, "Hey, Pot, come on, it's time for me to go beat Elvis." And he stood up, and a much deeper voice, he put on his macho voice. "Hey, fellas, it's 1 o'clock. Let's get cracking, okay?"
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, Amazon Alexa, and now on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
It's me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
Everyone knows the only thing better than pizza is free pizza, and right now, buy a $10 gift certificate to CiCi's Pizza for only $5. It's like buying a pizza and getting a pizza for free. Go to our station's website or Facebook. Look for the Half Off Deals logo to purchase this amazing deal right now.
We give HPV vaccine to children at 11 or 12 years of age. I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, and I've given the vaccine to all of them.
Get out of the house and over to Big Play today. 2 massive arcades, bowling, go-karts, 2 mini golf courses, a 2-story state-of-the-art laser tag arena, bumper cars, and right now get a $50 game card for only $25. Visit our station's Facebook and print on demand so you can play at Big Play Entertainment Center now. These deals won't last long, so make sure you get your half-off deal. Big Play Entertainment Center, Highway 90 Biloxi. Bowl, play, eat. Go to our station's Facebook to get your half-off deal now.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. What a gift it is to have the opportunity to talk to people like Butch Spearden. Pascagoula native. He's got coastal Mississippi in his blood. He's been head of the tourism convention effort in Nashville for 30 years. Been, proclaimed the rainmaker for Nashville. He's exactly the right guy you need in this moment. With all their success and the challenges brought to the pandemic, it would seem to me, Butch, that all the aligning you did and all the strategizing you did, and you're trying to get everybody basically on the same page as it relates to the roadmap, so to speak, that it's going to help you. I was touched by the fact you kept your employees on, because bringing employees back on after the pandemic and having to acclimate them to the brand and all the work that you're going to have to do around that takes time. It takes a lot of time.
I'm counting on that being a leverage in terms of an advantage for us. And I want to qualify, I did have to eventually furlough a few people, but our visitor center was closed. So
right.
How long could I keep them? But I kept them paid for 3 months, and look forward to bringing more of them back. But our sales team, our marketing team, we kept everybody in place. And part of that was that message of confidence tied to recovery for our community. Mm-hmm. We have 1,200 business members that belong, and there are something like 70,000 employees in this industry. So I take that very personally, that our success or our role is to get them back to work and to drive revenue for the community. So, it's not about, oh, look what I did. It's about people's lives and people's jobs and tax revenue that funds the city services.
But I say, you did a good job of telling us about the process and whatever. But the reality is, when you have a roadmap and everyone's sort of on that roadmap together, it's a similar terminology. The people get the vision. They see the vision before the pandemic. They know what you aspire to after the pandemic. it's going to help you. It's going to help you recover faster. I'm totally predict that will happen.
Well, I do too. I think similar to Mississippi, we have a strong drive market, and that's critical to the success. Those markets that have drive-in customers are going to recover quicker. So we know that. We recognize it. We know international will come back. We know that's a long way off. So we'll start working on it, but that's phase 2 or phase 3. And we also know conventions are at least 6 months off. So knowing who you are, knowing where your customers are, having the support to go take those steps is critical. I know my board gives it to me, and I know our constituents. I did a call Wednesday. We had over 200 members on the call where I could say, here's the things to give you hope. Here are the things to be worried about. And here are the things we're going to be working on. So again, very transparent. But, we have their trust. I think we earned it, but they also have kept it with us. And there are members and businesses that are going to fold. There are those that are concerned. There are those that disagree. But we do it collectively, and I can't emphasize that. National success, as much as I might want to take credit or would enjoy it, it's a group effort. But the reason it's a group effort is because we're all on the same page. We have very little infighting, and that doesn't work in times. It doesn't work anytime, particularly devastating in times of crisis. You have to come together, and you have to support your leaders. And in the case of Mississippi, I would say everybody should get behind Milton and the Mississippi Coast tourism.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why I was so impressed, I was involved in major change efforts in my career, and I know the importance of aligning. I know the importance of having a strategic effort. I know the importance of data and research and how it should guide you. And Milton understands all those things. And one of the things that I think is so powerful about what he brings is his ability to communicate and articulate. I mean, he's just a really smooth communicator. And so at the beginning of the pandemic, he was focused on the drive-in market and a safe destination. I mean, and just aligning everyone around a safe destination. And listen, man, next week is Cruising the Coast. We've got people registered from 41 states. It's only down. They closed it off August the 15th. It's only down like 900 cars compared to last year. I predict they're going to have an enormous number of registrations on site, and that it will be an epic event because people feel safe in their cars. They're spread out from Waveland to Pascagoula and all points in between, and the weather should be wonderful. At least we hope that it is. It's going to be the opportunity for us to show our wares.
It gives you a piece of confidence, which everybody needs right now. It gives you a financial boost, which everybody needs right now. And I think, it's that hope. And hope matters right now because the world's divided, country's divided, everybody's angst is at a peak. So let's
it is
bring it on.
For everyone to join together, no matter what your political persuasion or whatever we can all come together and love coastal Mississippi together. What a great message to end on. Butch Spearden, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you joining me this morning.
I'm honored to take a few minutes with you all, that you would have me, and I wish everybody good luck.
Everybody have a great day.
Broadcasting safe and sound from the coastal Mississippi studios, this is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on Super